Hey everybody, it's Jason Blaha here. Once again, it is time for an old school bodybuilding training vlog. If you guys will please click like down below, be greatly appreciated. If you're not following or subscribed, please do so. And if you'll be kind enough to draw me a comment down below, would also greatly appreciate that. So I did 3 sets of squats here, and kind of what I said I'm going to do in the streams. I'm going to go back and mess with full body, just old school type stuff, still using a little bit of the modern programming and knowledge that we have, obviously things I've learned as a coach. I just want to mess with some older school type training again. Let's kind of go back a little bit of basic stuff while I'm cutting. All right, I'm dropping 2 pounds a week. We are down to 213 today, so the scale is just coming down while I actually bumped carbs. I actually added more carbs back in yesterday. Lost another pound. Tells me that, again, cortisol's high, and that made me drop a little bit of water, so good thing. So I did 365 on that first set of squats. I felt like, it felt good enough. I feel like I can rep 405. So I decided to do a top set with 405 today. And they were nice and deep. These are solid reps. I did 2 reps. I'm like, I'm going to rack it. Not because I couldn't have got more, but because I felt like I got a good training response. It felt heavy, and I do not want to completely bury myself. I'm going to squat, at least twice a week, if not more. I'm going to squat or deadlift pretty much every session. I'm going to do 4 or 5 sessions a week. So I'm going to pick one with it and just run with it. So I'm like, you know what? I know it looked good. It looked better on camera. I'm like, felt pretty heavy. I felt like I really only had about a 1/3 rep. But keep in mind, guys, I'm doing a ton of cardio. And as long as we can still rep 405, we're good. But I'm like, well, I also want to do at least a 1/3 set of something. Let's just drop down and do a really deep pause at 315. So I just dropped down, did a nice long pause, right, all the way down ass to grass. I want to start doing them 405s like that for work sets. That's like a goal. Hit 405 for 5 with that depth. I can get there. I'll be really good even as I continue to cut later. Be a good lofty goal. So I decided then what I'm really doing is about 1 exercise per muscle if I count the pullover as triceps. So again, try to do 3 sets of stuff. And I really have about 5 or 6 exercises I'm always going to do as a base. And then other stuff is bonus. Do I want to throw some laterals in, forearms, anything else that we do? But we won't, 6 exercises, 5 really, and then if I throw calves in. So if I do calves and I either squat or deadlift, it makes every day a full body because it is a lower body day. So I decided today I really have been liking the dips. I know for a couple weeks I went over to just benching, but I really like those deep dips. I feel my chest gets a lot out of them. So I decided today, since I benched last time, let's just do a weighted dip. We did same weights and reps I've been doing. So the goal here is to just get deep. Obviously, I've gone to barely breaking parallel, and I've done 10s with 245s for 90. But this really, really super deep where I'm going that shoulder joint well below the elbows, it feels really good in my shoulders later. I feel like it's really helping me with some of the stuff, just like the pullovers do, right? Going to continue to improve all that shoulder mobility with stuff like this, because mobility work and stretching has never ever done anything for me with anything. Like even with the shoulders, if I have physical therapist followers, multiple of them, hey, message me some exercises, stuff I've done from physical therapy sites, nothing improved any of my range of motion, even an inch on the overhead stuff, like nothing even from written by doctors in physical therapy. Like it doesn't do anything, and I do this stuff every day for 6 weeks, no improvement. Pullovers had the best effect of anything I've done compared to anything any physical therapist I've ever seen has written. So all these other different stretches and angel stretches and wall slide, none of it works. It doesn't do anything for me, none of it. This stuff does. So again, it's got to be loaded. So again, the dips, pretty good, really happy with those. Again, I feel like they've done a fair amount for my shoulders. Same thing with the pull-ups. So I'm going to the closer grip, even though I really like wide grip pull-ups. So I'm trying to do most of my reps from a dead hang a little closer. Why? Because it's similar to the dead hang exercise, which again can help with the range of motion on the shoulders. Because long-term goal, like as you guys can see there, though, even a dead hang, my hands are in front of my face. They're not over. That is my dead hang. So the thing is, with all of that, is that lifting under load is really what's going to get us the results. And so again, even though I don't necessarily feel more lat doing it this way, it still feels very similar to the wider grip, and it still gets that stretch. So for me, the main key to building lats is just getting a stretch. And I don't care whether it's a row, I don't care whether it's a pull-up. As someone who has a pretty good back, that's always been my secret. This is what I find always helps with my back development, back stimulus, And I don't want to try to claim, oh, the lengthened position. For me, definitely lats are in that category, although I am feeling those pullovers like crazy. So the pull-ups, I managed to get 6 of these, trying to do most of the reps from a dead hang. Some of them I really go to a dead hang, and I just go up to where my lats allow me to go, right? So again, I don't try to swing over the bar. I don't think people are grasping. I can't just pull up. I can't do that even with a broomstick. So you have to swing over the bar, and that disengages the lats, and I don't care. I'm doing other stuff for the rest of my shoulders. And I think that throws people off with the pull-ups because they really think that for building muscle, that's what you're supposed to do. And sorry, I see plenty of guys who do all the way up, get their nipples up to the bar, they can crank out 25 pull-ups and they still don't have a back. I just don't think that's the key. I think it really is about the stretch and then taking up till your scapula touch together and just getting stronger there. All right, the pullovers, this is going to be a staple. So even though I'll rotate through for the first 3 lifts, squats and deadlifts, bench and dips, pull-ups and rows, maybe even chin-ups. This is going to be a staple. I really want to push the pullover and I really want to push the barbell curl. Because I feel like, again, if we want that old school classic type physique, I don't mean modern classic bodybuilding division. I'm talking really like the old timers, the bronze and silver era guys. Pullovers were a big part of it. And you look at their proportions, it makes sense. I'm going to push these, and I feel like they do so much for my triceps. I feel like they'll also help my triceps more because of getting that deep stretch lengthened position. I've been getting a lat and tricep DOMs, particularly that long head. But all my pressing will handle, most of the lateral head and stuff. I'm not worried. Plus, I'm doing those dips. Dips are a phenomenal tricep exercise. I really want to just hammer the pullovers hard. If I'm doing these 3, 4, 5 times a week for 3 sets, we push them hard with progression, I think we're going to see something there. So I just started doing them with the barbell instead of plates, and I got 95 for 3x10 last time. It hurt, gave me DOMs. I still have DOMs from it today. So, let's progress on this. This is different, and it feels good. I feel everything. It also, of course, it gives me an ab workout, intercostal workout. Pullovers are just amazing. They work pecs, lats, rear delts, long head of the tricep. I really feel them a lot in my triceps, by the way. And it doesn't matter what variation I do. It hits the triceps hard no matter what. So I'm going to continue to do them here. I'm going to keep them as a staple. I really feel like at this point, really pushing these and pushing dips will probably kind of get the triceps up, which I need. And then I'm going to hammer straight bar curls. I'm not going to say I'm not going to do other curls in here or there. But I want to also hit the barbell curls really hard, progress on them. Just keep doing the full range of motion ones fairly strict, which did good today. I've gotten them to the lower, but when we go all the way up to the face, I haven't been getting 10s stricter like this with 85, and I got 10s today. I think I failed rep 10 on the 3rd set. I think that's the one we failed on. So others I managed to get to 10, and it felt like nothing left. Kind of failing at the bottom. The last one, I pushed it all the way and just got stuck in the middle. So I hit straight up failure in the middle of a rep. So, and again, it's in the same rep count range, so I think we're good. But yeah, working with these. So I'm focusing on, again, locking out at the bottom, trying to minimize any cheating, trying to keep it pretty dang strict, and just coming up all the way to my face. Notice with the wrist cocked back, it takes the wrist curl out of it. It's actually easier on your forearms. So people are like, oh, they hurt my forearms. This won't. But the thing is, also, by doing it that way, you still have bicep tension up there towards the face, right? Because it's cocked back. It's not coming and loading all the way over and then rocking backwards onto your thumb. So keeping it back there, there's still, even though we're coming all the way up, we're getting a little tension. And that is one of the functions of the bicep. So again, just doing these straight barbell curls. I want to just push these with progressive overload, just get stronger and stronger at them. I feel like, again, will continue to help my biceps. So again, I want to bring these muscles up while I get leaner. And I've had some people, friends, and even other people in comments send to me like, dude, you're not going to gain any muscle in your arms doing cutting that fast. I'm like, I don't care. I'm going to try. Doesn't matter. I'm going to try. And if we don't, we don't. At least I'll maybe get some neural drive and efficiency and be ready for as soon as I'm done with the deficit, those arms are going to come up, right? So just keep putting in the work, right? Keep putting in the work. And again, the harder you train, the less likely you are to lose muscle too. And this is a mistake people make for cutting. They get ambivalent. Well, if I can't gain muscle, I'm not going to try. Whereas for me, I'm like, some of these exercises, I'm going to push them real hard. I may not push squats and deadlifts super hard. I don't know that we have to push them super hard to get growth as long as they're pretty hard. But some of these other movements, stuff like pullovers, the bicep, stuff that's going to hit my arms, my triceps, my biceps. This stuff I'm going to push it real hard. Calf raises, I was kind of struggling to get them into position today. It just felt weird trying to get up to that plate. And the third set was the first one I really got it right. I got to remember doing frequently enough that I get that bar in a position that lets me just kind of get that flow. But yeah, I'm doing these really high up on the plate. Yeah, I've done 500 just with no plate for sets. But 315 when I'm on that really tall plate, that 2.5-inch plate, it is hard. It is crazy hard. Like that 315 is as hard as doing 500 without a plate. So again, it's working though. I feel like my calves are looking pretty good here. I think it's doing good. So again, going to keep rolling with it. It's obviously working. It obviously works my calves really hard. And again, the other thing, one reason I want to do a lot of the calf work, I'm doing all this cardio. We're doing it to cut. The epoch, I know having people argued with me like, oh, you're not going to gain enough calf for it to make more calorie burn, but it adds up. Plus, think about the fact that I've trained my legs most of these days. We're training the calves all the time. They're always in that bit of an epoch state, and then have that epoch, we're doing all the fasted cardio still. After the calves have been worked, I feel like, again, there's a potential for just better calorie burn. Again, cut, because I'm doing everything fasted now. So it's kind of like, once I get to my feed window, I'm done with cardio. I'm not going to try to do fed cardio. I'm not going to fatigue myself. I'm going to try to burn through those carbs, just let the carbs get to the muscle tissue so that we can train again the next day. So I'm just going to do everything fasted. If I only hit 2 hours someday, I hit 2. If I get my 3, hey, great. If I have time for more on non-lifting days, I'll try to get more than 3. But we're just going to do it all fasted. And then that way, once I'm feeding and once I'm eating, we're not disrupting digestion. We're just getting a nice number of calories because we're in a big deficit. I'm losing 2 pounds a week. I'm in a deficit. Let's just let the calories and the carbs and the protein soak in, help me recover, and I'm just not going to train when fed. We're just going to burn through everything fasted and then maintain that deficit and just try to recover. So after this, I decided just for finishing stuff after my 6 basic things, I decided to do wrist curls and laterals. I haven't done as many laterals lately. I haven't done them with plates in a while. So I want to do side delts, rear delts, stuff like that throughout this week's too. I just felt like a little bit of extra the forearm work would be worthwhile today. I want to keep, again, forearms stimulated. I want to keep every aspect of my arms, as stimulated as possible during this cut because I can't afford to lose any arm size. That's one area. I don't care what else is going on. The arms cannot afford to shrink. I don't have any to spare, so I'm going to push them hard. So then the same thing for laterals. I used the plates today. We got around 12 or 13 reps right at failure with these. I feel like I can just be stricter and smoother. So occasionally I like to use the plates, even if sometimes I don't get to as much control over rep range because we're limited in plates. They just feel really smooth. I feel like they just flow in a really nice groove, and I just really feel the side delt. And I know that's not everything. I know the side delt's always going to get worked on a lateral. But in the case of this, it just feels so much smoother. It feels like a really natural movement when I use the plates. And I think it has to do with hand position, not gripping it the same. We're not getting super tight. It lets us just be nice and loose in the arms so that the shoulders can just do all the work, really. And again, it could be just in my head, but I always feel like it just feels like a smoother, more natural motion. But really happy with today's workout, happy with being down another pound. So I hope it's been informative, and I'll talk to you guys and gals next time.